Okay, cool. Welcome. This will be a guide for Resident Evil Code Veronica X on the speedrun guide. I've been meaning to do this for a while. I already have a sort of guide up on YouTube where I commentate over one of my previous PBs, but I'm not too happy with that. It doesn't encompass as much detail on all categories. Hopefully this will. I'm going to do it live, so we're just rolling with the punches. I'm having some issues with power, so I am local recording. If the power cuts out, I'm just going to keep going, but either way, it's live, it's on stream, so we're just going to move ahead with any issues. Okay, so let's crack on, get rid of this music, and jump over. So this will be the first place you want to visit. This is the speedrun.com page for Resident Evil Code Veronica X. We do have one for Code Veronica, which is the original release of the game on Dreamcast. They're on different boards for various timing reasons, which I'll talk about later, but strictly speaking, if you're here, you're probably looking for this page. It's CVX. So CVX has four main categories: any percent, so finish the game as quickly as possible. Excuse me. S rank, which is achieve an S rank score at the end of the game. To do so, you need to finish the game in under 4 hours. You need to not use any first aid sprays, so you can use herbs, no first aid sprays. You need to rescue Steve pretty quickly, which we do in every category anyway. And you need to do a small side quest where you rescue or you heal Rodrigo, who's a non-playable character. I'll talk about that later. But if you do achieve the S rank, you will unlock the rocket launcher or New Game Plus. You have an infinite rocket launcher. It's the same game, but you just have an infinite weapon. Knife only, I haven't ever done and don't know much about it, so I'm going to steer clear of that. Okay, and so you'll notice that the game is split up into HD and SD versions. Now, this is not tied to the console. So, for example, the PS4 version is on a HD console. However, it is the PS2 version emulated, and this is the SD version. The reason these are separated is because the SD versions of the game have a default, 6 or 7 or 8 minutes time at the end of the game, plus various other time losses in comparison to the HD version throughout the game. And that's to do with when the in-game timer stops. The HD version is pretty much was a HD re-release of the game on the PS3 and the Xbox 360. You can also play it on the Xbox One with backwards compatibility and whatever. And I noticed somebody here has. Yeah, the SD version is the GameCube and PS2 versions, and I guess technically speaking the Dreamcast, but as mentioned, it's on a different board. Okay, and so if you come down to the subcategories, glitched is the most popular category. It's nothing major, it's just one specific glitch on a weapon, or you can do it on a health item. The weapon is more optimal, it helps with 3 of the mid-game bosses. This is by far and away the most popular category, and probably the one I would recommend that you start with. Glitchless, obviously you don't use the glitch. DS means door skip, and so a guy called CapTap made a nice modification where we can remove door animations, and it saves about 25 minutes on the run, which is pretty useful because this run is pretty long. I mean, it's even longer on the SD version. Okay, and so yeah, basically that's about it. This is where you need to be. Here you can get the rules, you can submit your runs. There's some resources, some guides, and there's a forum. Right. Hey kitten, how's it going? Right, okay, let's jump in. Incidentally, I'm using the GameCube emulator, so Dolphin. This is a console-only game. There was no PC release, so we do allow emulator. The PS3 emulator, RPCS3, is currently the fastest way to play this game. Personally, I don't like to use it very much. It doesn't run too good on my computer. I feel like it renders the graphics pretty poorly, and there's a lot of slowdown and things like that. But it's the fastest way to play the game, and this is a speed run, right? So you're probably going to play that version, which is great. I prefer the SD version. I think it has better visuals. Obviously that's subjective. I think it has better inputs and things like that, but it is slower. I'm using the Dolphin emulator. I use it pretty much exclusively, but also it has save states, which is useful for this kind of thing, right? So let's just jump in. Good to catch you too. Okay. So if you're familiar with Resident Evil or the OG Resident Evil games, 1, 2, 3, and now Code Veronica, it has tank controls. So you should be able to see my inputs displayed down here. I'm using keyboard. You can use controller, obviously. On the right hand side, you'll see the SRT or the Speedrun tool. This tells me my health or my HP, and it gives me the inventory display as well, so I can see what's in my inventory without actually being in the inventory, which is pretty useful. It's somewhat controversial, but generally speaking, it's used across most speedruns. What it's doing, it's reading the game's memory and providing us a visual display of information. So tank controls, you press forward, you will always go forward, backwards, you will always go back, left and right. Okay. Now you will walk as by default. If you hit run or cancel and move, you will run. You want to be doing this for most of the game, right? Because it's a speed run. You want to go fast. Plus walking is kind of torture. We have an aim, so you can aim and you hit action to fire. Action is also used for opening doors, for inspecting items, for picking up items. And then finally the inventory. So the inventory is the same as all the other Resident Evil games or the original Resident Evil games, except, to be frank, this inventory is awful compared to those. It's very slow. There's no neat tricks, but generally speaking, it's the same. We have 8 slots: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. At the top, we have the equipped, and at the top here on the right-hand side is the it's a free slot. Basically, we have a lighter in the beginning, and later on we can swap it out for a lockpick, which you do in the S rank version of the game. Up here is the map. We don't need the map for the speedrun. File, we do need to go into the file menu once in this game. I'll talk about that later. And exit will take you out of the inventory. Interestingly, or incidentally, you can back out of the inventory by pressing cancel, but it requires 2 inputs. If you just used the inventory menu button again, you will back out instantly. Right. That red book there is the user manual. We need that for the glitch later. That is exclusive to the CVX version of the game. So Code Veronica came first, and then CVX was re-released. It has a couple of extra cutscenes, and it has that item is already in the inventory. That's about it, really. Okay. And then the in-game timer in this game never stops. So you need to skip all cutscenes. To do so, we use select, which is also the options menu. Okay, I think that's just about it. Aim. Oh, we also have a switch aim function which we use once in the game. I'll talk about that when we get there. But generally speaking, that's all it just about covered. How I'm going to do this is I'm going to just run through the game. I'll use save states at certain points. I'll talk about specific lines. Again, it's important to remember this is my interpretation of the game. I don't do lines the same as everyone else. I'm not going to show you everyone else's strats. I'll show you one person's strat for a mid-game boss fight, but other than that, this is just how I play the game. It's not perfect, obviously. Oh god, swig of water. It's not perfect, but of course, you know, you will get enough information to be able to speedrun this game. So let's reset. Yep, the GameCube version has a soft reset function. In the PlayStation versions, you can just go into the options menu and reset. This one you can't for some reason. Okay, so we need to run the game on normal. The reason for this is that the USA and the EU, or the PAL versions of the game, don't have difficulty selections, which is kind of interesting. And so we always run the game on normal. Easy and very easy, I've never tried, but they're not options for the game. I think if the game become way more popular, they may become options, extra tabs or whatever, but it's not overly popular as a speedrun, so I kind of doubt it. Right. Okay, so straight away you want to be skipping a cutscene. There's an opening cutscene that we want to be skipping through. When we do, we're prompted to open the menu, so you can hit any key. Action takes you into the menu just this once, and you want to go up and equip the lighter. If you're doing glitchless, at this point you can open the user manual and read it and take it out of the inventory. You don't need it. I don't do it here, even for glitchless. I'll show you later on where I do it. But you want to equip the lighter, back out, and then skip this cutscene. And straight away, we want to pick up the knife. So the knife is quite useful for a speedrun in this game. I mean, we use it once, basically, but it's more efficient for a very early mini-boss. Much more efficient than the pistol, which we pick up in a moment. Okay, so I'm going to make a quick save here. This is the first dodge. I think we should talk about zombies in this game, right? The zombies in this game are quite different from any of the other original Resident Evil games. There's lots of them. There's tons and tons of dodges in this game. There's a very unique way to dodge zombies in this game. Obviously, your instinct usually is to go wide, and that kind of does work for some zombies, and when we get to them, I'll talk about that. But generally speaking, in this game, you're in tight, enclosed quarters, and you need to basically run face to face, like chest to chest with a zombie, and sort of juke or move at the last second. This first zombie dodge, it can be quite annoying. I think it has a couple of different states. You'll hear me talk about RNG throughout the game. What I mean by that is it's a sort of catch-all frame that speedrunners use for like luck or different variations on like enemy patterns or enemy behaviors. This one has a couple, but generally speaking, you just want to be holding forward and run out of the cutscene, and you will always be okay. Let's make our save state. Let me just check the save state's working, by the way. Yeah. So, watch my inputs, skip the cutscene, hold straight, a couple of steps and turn right. There you go. Now, if it grabs you, it's not a big deal if you're just starting out. What I should mention is in this game, you can buffer straight away from nearly every grab. And by that I mean, if you react quick enough and mash quickly enough, you will shake off a zombie without taking damage. Pretty useful. The only game you can do that in. You can do it sort of in Resident Evil 3, but only a certain amount of time after taking actual damage. This one you can do it every time, except for some very specific cases. The zombies in this game, they can go turbo, so you will have seen that in Resident Evil 2 and 3, where they sort of speed up. They also have a behavior or a feature called insta-grab, or we call it insta-grab, where they have sort of 100% grab frames, and they will just whip around and grab you. You can't shake out of those, you can't buffer or shake out of those grabs. You just can't, and it's completely random. Any zombie can do it. It can be very frustrating for this game. You'll notice we've just got the pistol. It's equipped. We actually don't use it once in the entire run, unless you're doing the herb glitch, which I don't recommend doing for a speedrun. But you will need the handgun. We're going to leave it in the nearest like pseudo save box, but I'll get to that in a moment. Okay. So this area is called the prison. So we visit this area twice, but at the beginning of the game it's quite a heavy reset section. Okay, so this line here. I'll talk about the lines in this section specifically in some detail, because it's very early in the game. The temptation to reset is quite large. So this one, there's a relatively consistent dodge in here, depending on where the enemies are. So let's give it a go. You're gonna come here and you want to hug this barrier and run through like that. What can happen sometimes is the zombie on the bottom left-hand corner of the screen there, he can be basically facing you directly, and if he's doing that, you're not going to get past him. To get past him, you can cut through the middle of the two zombies. I'll see if it comes up in a moment. It's quite difficult to react to. You need to have a lot of experience and basically good reactions. But you want to do that kind of line. And they're the two lines basically, but the first one is the one you will be using the most. It's actually not too difficult. It took me a while to get down, but my recommendation is to get the Dolphin emulator version of the game. You can get in touch with me if you need it. I'll help you find it. And you can use save states and you can just practice over and over and over again.
Please deposit.
Okay, so this section, we're going to deposit any metallic items in here. These are not linked to the traditional save boxes or the item boxes. We do have those in this game, but these are not linked. So any items you leave here, it will stay here. I'm going to get rid of the knife, the pistol, and the lighter. You can jump throughout the inventory by using the shoulder buttons, R1 and R2. I don't do that. It's actually much faster to do it that way, but I don't do it. Okay. First thing we need to do is head into here. So we're going to get a cutscene here with Steve, very infamous character, and you want a quick turn, and there's an item in this drawer. It's in Eagle emblem plate. We need that to leave the prison section, but it's metallic and we can't take it out of this area. So the goal of this section is to find a non-metallic material way back at the beginning of the game and come back and make a copy of it. Hey Mega, how's it going? So we need to turn on the power for outside while we're here, and we need to head back out. So before we go do that, go pick up our material, we want to head over to this section and activate this sort of printer, 3D printer or whatever, I guess, I don't know what you would call it. Let me make a quick save state. And check that works, okay. So this is where in glitchless... No, that's okay, Mango, you can talk. This in glitchless is where I open the user manual. I do this because straight away you're on top of the manual, so I just open it and then just back out and then straight away jump back into the item and use it. We're making a copy of this item in this sort of CNC machine, 3D printed or whatever it is. But since primarily we're going to be showcasing glitched here, we don't want to do that. We want to just use the item. So there you go. Now if you watch my inputs at the end of this, now you'll notice I'm holding action and mashing run or cancel. Run and cancel are the same button. The reason for this is it allows me to, if you hold action, the text will scroll much faster and then you can back out of it. If you don't do that, I don't know if you can sort of notice that, it's very short text, so it's hard to see, but it goes a lot faster when you're holding action, so that's a good tip. And then if you're ever reading a file in this game, you want to be holding action and mashing cancel or run. It will zoom straight through the text. Pretty nice time save. Same here, you want to be holding both action and cancel, and then just mash cancel. Sorry, it's really loud. We want to open this here. What you want to do here is to just hold forward and run. There are a number of clever lines you can do, but generally speaking, just hold forward and run. Got the item. Now, I didn't do a quick grab there. I'll talk about those later. Get ourselves a key. Okay. So in this game, you can pick up items from the floor without the bending down animation. What you need to do is you need to hit action and right, almost on the same frame. I used to think it was the same frame, but I got a good tip from Silentcaster, who is one of the top players of this game ever, that he hits action slightly before right, and it seems to be working for me, so we'll talk about that a bit later on, but I don't like to do it there. I have done it there in the past, but basically if you fail the quick grab, you generally take a grab from the zombie, so I just don't do it. Do you not recommend using infinite hair glitch for rocket launcher or run or knife? I personally don't use the herb glitch for any speed runs, but if they're legal in those runs, then it's fine to do it. These guys just hug the wall. They should be. The dogs aren't too much of an issue in this game, except for a couple, and we'll talk about that later. But as far as Resident Evil goes, the dogs are not a very big deal. Here now, I'm gonna make a save here. This is the graveyard. This is a heavy reset point in this game. What you want to do, you want to come in here, and if this guy's moving forward, go behind him. And cut in here. And we need to use the fire extinguisher. That was pretty okay. That was a kind of a weird pattern. Generally speaking, that line will work consistently on the way in. The way out is kind of the issue. Just use this. You want to grab this item off the floor, and then, depending on what the first guy does, it affects the behaviour of set or affects what lines you'll take. That was an example of a quick pickup. It was just there. So I'm going to turn, I'm going to go sideways, and we took a grab. Okay. And that's the graveyard. It can be quite interesting. Let's see if we can do it again. I'll just show you one more time. So what I do as a rule, if the first guy is not moving, I go in front of him. If he is, I go behind him. We go outside this guy and then outside this guy. And like I say, that line in is pretty consistent. we got it again. Quick turnout. Okay. Okay, there we go. So you are able to get out of there without taking any damage. It's kind of difficult. When you're just starting out, don't worry about it. Just try to buffer as many grabs as possible. Okay, we want to come here. The key we picked up earlier is here. Now you can just use this key on the gate. I'll show you. You can just action the gate and it will use the key. And it's no longer in the inventory. I don't do that. However, I go into the menu and open the briefcase. You're going to have to force menu at some point. When you go into the menu, one second, dog's gonna come get me. There's a thing in this game called in Resident Evil games and presumably other games called force menuing, where you need to go into the menu. Sometimes you may make a mistake, or you may have to pick up a herb and use the herb, and that's a force menu that you don't want to do. We have to go into the menu at some point to open this briefcase, so I do it now. Strictly speaking, it doesn't matter. But the way I play the game is I go down to it, I jump in. Okay, so obviously we're playing in Japanese. I should have mentioned that. I'm playing in Japanese because the text is faster and the game itself is easier. It's pretty common across speedruns, especially Resident Evil. But we have the command section here. The first one is like equip or use action. The second one is examine, and the third one is combine. In this case, we want to examine, so we need to look at this briefcase. And inside there will be the material we're looking for. Scroll through it, and then I'm holding action and cancel. And then what I do then is pop down to the key and use the key. It doesn't make any difference. You can open the briefcase anywhere, but that's what I like to do. This line in, I like to just do it this way. That was pretty safe, but took no damage. And now we're going to be prompted to put the fire extinguisher away.
Any metallic items you have in the security box.
Which we can do. You need to open the briefcase before you go through this metal detector section, basically. There's a first aid spray there if you need it. You can't take it out of the room because it's metal, so you need to use it. If you're starting the game, you're taking a lot of damage, just pick it up and use it. Pick it up and then use it when you're in this menu. But otherwise, place our material and we're going to get a copy. So on the way out here, a number of zombies are going to burst through the windows. Now in the game, you can prevent this by setting off the metal detector, and it will put shutters over the windows, and they won't burst in. It's too slow for a speedrun. Just try to learn the dodges. There's a number of different RNG patterns. You know, just do what you can. Okay, we got a good pattern. There we go. And then here. So I like to just input twice, menu. We only want to take the lighter and the knife. We don't need the pistol. If you're doing the herb glitch, you want the pistol. I don't recommend doing it, personally. There's enough healing in the game, and if you learn all the dodges, you should be okay. But if you want to do it, you know, that's up to you, of course. This can be quite annoying, but we're okay. Okay, so that's the end of the prison section. One of the more arduous sections of the game, to be honest, but pretty nicely dealt with. Okay. So, here there are 2 herbs. I'm not going to take them, but I recommend that you do. This box, you can push this box 6.5 times and get away with it. I use a visual cue, so I'll show you where I push the box to. I push it just past this post there, and you'll see that it's not fully pushed forward as we look. You can get away with that, and it should just jump in. Once it jumps in like that, you can just jump up and it will work. That's a pretty fast and efficient way to do it. Again, if you're struggling, or if you're on the HD version, which is much darker in places, I would recommend just pushing the box all the way. A micro time save that you don't really need when you're starting out. Here, there's 2 zombies here. The draw distance on this version is pretty bad, so you can't see them. Other versions you can. Oh. So that there was an insta-grab. We very rarely take a bite from that guy. This line here, always do this line. Left into the flower beds, plant pots, or whatever they are. That always works with those dogs. That's the line you always want to take. Okay, so now we're in like the palace or the... I don't know what this is called, to be honest. I think it's called the palace in the game. What we need to do is pop around here to this computer. And so we now need the code. I actually know the code. I'll talk about this later, but there are 2 puzzles in this game where the game requires the character, the in-game character, to have information to solve a puzzle. This is not very common in Resident Evil. I don't know why they decided to do it in this game and for just 2 puzzles. It's kind of weird. This is not one of them, so I know the solution to this puzzle is NTC 0394. And enter. Okay. So it's NTC 0394. To get that information, you need to go upstairs, and there's a security card on the floor, I think, or under a desk, and it actually tells you. Again, we know the solution, so we don't need to do it. Okay, this corridor here, you're going to travel down this 3 times, both directions. There's a number of different dodges. I'll try to show you the dodge that I do. It's not consistent. I don't think there is a consistent dodge in here, but this is what I like to do. I like to head in and just sort of hug this wall slightly, and hopefully he lunges. There you go. You're going to take a lot of grabs there. It's just inevitable. Here, either run up to this wall and select this. We're going to get a cutscene here. Make sure you're skipping it. I'll show you this for prosperity or whatever, but there it is. In this room, all we need to do is pick up this item. So I got another quick pick up there. Pretty nice. And back out. Out of here, you can just hold straight, and most of the time, you will be fine. I like to just turn to the left slightly. I feel it's more consistent for me personally, but holding straight works a fair amount of the time. Okay, so we're going to attempt to leave, and we'll be prompted with so our friend Steve is in trouble. And now we need to take the same line again. I'm not going to make a save state, we'll just deal with it. I might get grabbed, I might not. Okay, I did. I feel like that was probably my fault. But yeah, to achieve the S rank, you need to do this very quickly. But I mean, the time it is quite long, so don't worry about it. On this, I like to hit 6 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 2, 2, 2. Skip the cutscene. So what just happened there is Steve took some items from the wall, gold and Lugers, so guns. We need them to get through a certain door later on, but he refused to give them to us. So our next mission is to find a weapon that he wants to trade for, basically. If you're interested in the story of the game, worth mentioning, this game has a very wacky story and very wacky characters. It really went back to the sort of the weirdness of RE1, which is kind of interesting. But we're not going to see any of that because we have to skip the cutscenes. Right, I'll just hold forward here, see what happens. Okay, we're good. So this here now, let me make a save state. We're about to skip right. We're about to skip this cutscene. Now this is very important in this game. You can move the character during the fade in. So before the screen is faded back in, you can start to move the character. This is the first really good example. So I'll do it once without moving the character, and I'll show you where Claire is when the screen fades in and you feel like you can start to take control. You can actually take control earlier, and we'll talk about that. But let's just skip this. And you see she's facing the wall, and so what most people do is quick turn and head out. Now if you watch my inputs, you'll see that if I get it right, I should be able to move before the fade in. I didn't really do it correctly. Let's try it again. There you go. And you can see I'm almost, I'm on my way to the stairs before you can see the character again. Here, you need to head to this side of the staircase and then hug this left plant pot. That's very consistent for dodging those dogs. The dogs, you don't want to take a grab from the dogs because they waste a lot of time. Like a bite is not too bad, but a grab is pretty bad. Okay, so here we need to use the steering wheel, but this is another example of not force menuing. We need to use the knife in about 3 or 4 minutes for the first mini boss fight. This is the last time we go into the inventory for the knife. This is the last time we go into the inventory before we need to use that knife. So let's equip it now. So equip it. And in this game, you can just hit right to go to the next slot. So rather than going down left, you just press right. Let me use that. Carrying a one-handed weapon doesn't reduce foot speed in this game. Carrying a two-handed weapon doesn't as well. It does in some games, RE3 for example. Also interesting to note, your health, so I'll talk about that now. So you can see that there that I'm in fine, green. There's 4 health states, there's 5 actually, there's 4 regular and 1 is poison. 4 regular is fine, green, yellow caution, orange caution and danger. All of them except danger you're okay to be in, strictly speaking. The foot speed is not reduced by much, your turn speed is not reduced by much. You don't need to heal as much as you would think in this game. Some great advice I got at the very beginning was stop healing so much, and that's really holds true. Here, in this room, there's a side pack just behind us. We need it, but the best thing to do is to go to this console first. Because, and I'll show you. Because, as I mentioned earlier, we can take control of the character really quickly. If you're just holding forward, run, and action, you will hit the console pretty quickly. There you go. Sometimes you can get that so quickly that you don't even see Claire. It cuts straight from the ladder animation to the console itself. So what we want to do is quick turn here, run around the ladder and grab the side pack. This gives us 2 extra item slots, which we need for Claire. And this ladder you can hit from the side. You need the 2 extra items for Claire. With Chris later on, you don't need them. I may take it just for the purpose of this tutorial, but you don't need it. So here we want to go right, Claire's right, or left. This one here, I like to take this dodge behind. For me, it's fairly consistent. If he's not moving forward, you can get in front of him, but I just always go behind. It's just habit these days. I actually found this less successful on the HD version of the game for some reason, but that may be to do with just to do with the character inputs or the movements of the character. So here we want to head up to this elevator and this crane puzzle. So the crane puzzle, so you can only move forward and then left. You can't move forward, stop, and then move forward again. Why, I have no idea. But it's essentially the equivalent to like an arcade, like toy grabbing machine or whatever. There's a shadow on the floor. In the HD version, the shadow is much nicer. You can get away with much less, but you can be quite greedy. You can go all the way to the back wall, and then all the way left, and you can position the shadow right over the top of the container, and that will pick it up. But you can be way greedier. I like to put the near side of the shadow on that line on the floor. So like that. And then the left end of the shadow just on the edge of the container. Like so. And it'll pick it up. Like I say, in the HD version, the shadow is much more forgiving. You can get a much more efficient or greedy line. Now this, there are several lines out of this now. We're about to be confronted by a bunch of zombies. Let me just... You can go right back out the way you came in, go through the middle, and the safe line is around the back. I tend to just do the safe line, it really depends. The guy on the floor is moving, do not go through the middle. That's the... We should get through the middle here, actually. There you go. So, the guy on the floor was not moving, and I manipulated the first 2 into lunging, which gave me the space to leave. What I would recommend doing is, if you can't pull that off, or you're not confident, you don't have the confidence to pull it off yet, or you just want to play it safe and give up like a tiny time save, which is fine. You probably want to do it like this. I'll show you. As with most things in this game, it's not overly consistent. Like, this is the most consistent way, but you can still take grabs. Anywhere you're close to a zombie, you can be grabbed. I recommend doing that strategy. Going for the middle there would not have worked because both zombies did not lunge. And so if I attempted to go for the middle, I would have taken the grab. And like I say, sometimes on the floor, like go wide in this guy. Sometimes on the floor, the zombie is moving. If it's moving, don't go. Okay. So now we have our biohazard card. We used this several times. We actually don't get rid of this card at all. It remains in the inventory for the rest of the game. The inventory, by the way, there's a nice feature where when the inventory is full, you can use a healing item, and it doesn't. It's actually faster than the normal way of healing. And so, very strategically, we keep the inventory in a certain almost full or usually quite full, and especially in the glitched category, the inventory, the way we manage the inventory is very, very important because it needs to be in a very specific. Items need to be in specific areas to perform the glitch. So try not to go rogue with the inventory if possible. This here, I like to do a quick turn here. A little bit swag, but you can just turn around and activate it. You can't hit it on the side for some reason. It's very weird, a very weird trigger. Okay. This dog line. Yeah, I used to do it. I used to wait for the first dog to move. And then run. Like so. Yeah, these days I just run forward. Around there. I come inside slightly, just to manipulate this dog and then hug this wall. And then once we're past, we can just head towards the gate. Just hold straight here. If this guy grabs you, you've just been incredibly unlucky. That's all. If any of these guys grab you. I actually got grabbed on my PB in this by the first guy, and then subsequently by the second guy, because that kind of happens. Okay, the worm. Don't bother attempting to fight this worm at all. Yeah, we will fight it later on with Chris, but for now, do not bother. Over here, we want to head into this room here. You don't need to go over to the control panels, the card swipe panels to activate it. Just hit the door, you know. Very insignificant time save, but it's a time save and it's free, so do it. Yeah, right here, I like to hold up left and arc out here, and then we're going to get a cutscene, Alfred. Get up these stairs as quickly as possible, that he can shoot you and it's quite dangerous. Okay. So we're on our way to the first mini-boss fight. I'm just going to make a save here because I'll show you what I do differently for if you want to do S rank. So S rank, you need to go into this room first. Save room, there's a couple of herbs in here. On S rank, I usually take a herb because you can't use the first aid spray. But you want this item. That item is a hemostatic medicine, I believe it's called. You need this for the S rank. Keep it in the inventory, and I'll show you what we do to make space for that. So we don't actually need to bank anything. You don't bank in it. You bank once in this game. It's the weapons. So you switch between characters in this game several times. Your inventory does not switch over to the other character. So anything you want that character to have needs to be in the item box. And thus we do it once. Okay, so that's for S rank. For glitched, what you do is you just head up to here, cutscene, and then back through. So this mini boss fight is with a new enemy, the Bandersnatch. This one has slightly more HP than the regular Bandersnatches in the game, which is why I call it a mini boss fight. You need to pick up this item, and we are going to use the knife on this boss. It's the most efficient way to do it by a long, long way. Let me make a save state. This boss has two states. He can either, more often than not, he will jump across the room to the other side. Sometimes he won't. When I first started playing the game, I used to run forward, and if he jumped, I would quick turn. Now I just take a chance and hold basically upright and arc around. What you want to do is this railing here. I'm going to get a cutscene here, so I'm not going to be able to activate it. Yeah. I'll just show you now. You want to lodge yourself in between this railing and the enemy. Reason being that when he smacks you, he can knock you out of range. He can knock you out of the range of the knife. If you're in between the railing and the enemy, he will knock you back, but you won't go far back enough that you can't still hit him. Very good technique. And then what you want to do is aim down, and when he makes a noise, he sort of screams. Then you swipe, and then you start going for it. And hopefully he will dodge a few swipes. It's a very finicky boss. You know, just do what you can basically. Let's see what we can do. Okay, that was really not ideal at all. Positioning wasn't great. Yeah, likely early on you're going to take a lot of damage here. These days I tend to be okay, sort of. You know, that was a very bad fight, but okay, this is bad again. Think about the knife is. The knife's very powerful in this game. Okay, that'll do. They were very bad examples of a Bandersnatch fight. You check out some of my other PBs or some of the top guys, you'll see about how to do that fight really correctly, but it's really just one of those things. The thing with the knife is as well, it does damage in every frame that it connects with an enemy, and so you want to hear multiple connections to know it's doing maximal damage. Then it really wasn't. Okay, skip. I'm going to be skipping here as well. We're about to take control of Steve for a very short section. In a casual playthrough, this part's pretty fun. You can just blast away all the enemies. We don't want to do that. Okay, this line here, I pre-turn and I just hold forward. And then turn in like that. We do this line a lot of times in this game. We do it with all 3 characters that we play as. So Claire, Chris and Steve. Some people do it differently. I always do the same line. It's very consistent. Occasionally you will take a grab. Again, you will hear me say that a lot in this game. There's sometimes you just can't avoid taking grabs. Okay, so now we're in caution. I will pick up a heal. This one, skip through 2 cutscenes. Okay, I've skipped too much. Okay. It's a very famous scene. Steve's father's a zombie and he tries to attack Claire and he kills him and blah blah blah. Very dramatic. Yeah, this item here you can grab from the side. This is the emblem. You don't need to run up in front of it. Like, you don't even need to go here. You can get it from here. Turn out. Here, just hold straight out of this room. Most times you will not take a grab. Just hold straight. Here, Steve's in the way. It's the only time Steve's here in this room, and we just need to arc around, and that was a pretty wide line. Upright out here, and we want to go through this door. This time we're heading back the way we came earlier. Where Alfred, the main antagonist, tried to shoot us earlier. That's where we're heading back to. So again here, you don't need to go to the card reader. Just head straight out. Right, now there's dogs in this area. These dogs can be quite annoying. We need to come back down these stairs now and go down a ladder. For some reason, the dog's AI is weird and they head into the cage where the ladder is. So we need to do a specific manipulation to try to move them out. You can just chance it and go straight for it. I never do. But before that, I will show you what to do for the S rank version. So for S rank, what I like to do here is to run into this room, and we're going to use this. We're going to use this card on this door. Reason being that once you've used this card on all 3 doors that it needs to be used on, you can discard it, and it will give us extra inventory space. On a regular run, you will not do this. You just keep that card in the inventory. It's no big deal. No. Accidentally made a mistake with the save state there. So it's going to be interesting. What I would usually do is head up here and run into here. And I equip the lighter here, so we need the lighter a bit later on. Again, this is the whole force menuing thing. I think it makes for an easier menu to go up, equip lighter, down 3 times. Use the inventory, and we're going to get another item. Head back down, and this is where we're going to try to manipulate these dogs. Hopefully they are out. No, they just stayed in the cage. Beautiful. You can see how messy that kind of gets. Here, again, don't need to go to the card reader, just activate the gate. Up here and into here. So if I'm doing glitchless, I head over here and take this item. you know what, let's just take it anyway. I think the issue is here that I've made a mistake. I've accidentally saved after I used the silver card there, so we're going to lose that card, and it's going to mess with the inventory. So I will keep this item in the inventory for now, the grenade rounds. It will even things out. If you're just starting the game, you might want to pick these up anyway, just so you have extra ammo. But for glitchless, you need to, I think this is a good idea to pick up. Head over here, and in here is the grenade launcher. So this is our main weapon of choice for the game. This, and for glitchless in particular, and we use a bowgun later on, which I'll also pick up in a moment. So head back out of here, same line again as with Steve, straight down the stairs. I just hold straight and then cut inside. There we go. Now we need to go to the second floor. So yeah, it's worth remembering that in the glitch category, that silver card in the inventory will remain, and you won't have those 6 grenade rounds. Also for glitchless, I like to come up here and grab these. It's a little bit out of the way. It's not optimal, but I tend to grab these. There's some grenade rounds on the floor there. Here, there's some herbs right here. Actually, gonna do a heal. I usually won't bother taking those at any point, but since this is a tutorial, let's just not die. Yeah, on here there's an item, and then we got our first instance of the character needing to know information to solve a puzzle. I'll talk about that now. We pick up this, it's the army proof, and then we need to interact with this computer console. Now we're going to look into a room, and there's a painting on the wall. We need to know the code. Somebody's written the code on the bottom of the painting. We need to get it, so you need to zoom in here, and there you go. It's 1126. Now, I know it's 1126. It's always 1126. But if you head to the passcode terminal thing where you need that information, if Claire has not seen that code, the game will tell you, like, you don't know the code. Very weird thing to introduce to a game, but okay. Well, that's not weird. I guess it's logical, but they didn't maintain that logic across all the puzzles, which is weird. This one, you can hit the door trigger quite far away. This game is very similar to RE2 in that respect. You want to mash into doors. You want to mash the action button as you're heading towards doors. Things like RE3, you hold action. It won't work in this game. You also need to hit action to go upstairs also. This here, in the glitched category, you won't be prompted to throw away this card. I'm throwing it away because I made a mistake, but in the S rank you will obviously throw it away. Okay, so in here there's a weapon that we need, a bowgun, and we need to head into a room and dodge a small enemy and get a painting. So that painting that we've just looked at through the camera, we now need to pick up. You can get the bowgun first. I don't. I head to the terminal. It's 1, 1, 2, 6. Okay. So if you're doing glitched here, you want to head over this way, and you want this item here. They're acid rounds. They're very important. You need those for a mid-game boss fight. I'm not going to take them now, but remember, they are the items that you need to pick up that item if glitched. Very important. Head around here, and then we want this painting off the wall. I'm going to get a cutscene. It's very loud. So here, you can get out of this room without taking damage, but it's kind of difficult. Taking one hit or one zap is usually okay for me. You can get stuck very badly. No, it's not good. Took 2. Just do what you can. Run straight, and the bowgun is here. We need this bowgun, very, very important. I'm going to get a document, which I'm holding action and mashing cancel. Quick turn out. Okay. So out of here, we're heading back. There's some arrows here that we need, but it's more optimal to get them on the way back through. The line is easier. It makes no difference though. It's a slight time loss to pick it up now, but in terms of inventory management, it's completely fine. There we go. So here now, you cannot hit the trigger from the side on this one. You need to be in front of it. Use the painting. We're going to get a gold key. There we go. Back out again. Hold straight here. Don't bother going wide or whatever. It's, you know, the vast majority of times you'll be okay. You're going to get unlucky sometimes, but that's just code Veronica X. Okay. So here I like to hold straight until almost the last minute, and you can hit the trigger for this item on the side, like so. Maintains a pretty nice line. Okay. So now we're heading back to the palace. You're about to encounter some Bandersnatchers. These guys shouldn't be too much trouble on this pass through. Same line again for the dogs. Swing left and then the wall on the left. There we go. Back inside. There's a herb there on the floor if you need it. Okay, so now this part of the game, there's now two routes you can take. You can head to the castle, the mansion. There's like a castle on a hill you'll see in a moment. You can head there first, or you can head left into the corridor that we went to earlier where we saved Steve, and there's an item you need down there. It's more optimal to do it the way I'm going to show you, as in the second one. Reason being that when you return to the mansion later on, if you didn't do this first, you would need to go a separate way, and there's more zombies. It's just not optimal. But you do have that choice. So we're going to head down here. Same again, except now we want to head to the end of the corridor, and we want to whip around this corner into this room. Okay, so this room, this is quite an annoying puzzle casually because the clue makes no sense. What we're doing, we're activating paintings in a certain order, and it's the lineage of this Ashford family, which are the main antagonists of the game, are the Ashfords. On these paintings, I like to memorize how many inputs I need. So this one is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Quick turn out. And this one is 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. 4 again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5. The rest are 5. Be careful with this one. You can head out the door by mistake. Quite annoying. That's done. And so the order is Veronica, or the lady, the guy with the twins, the guy with the teacup, the guy with the plate, the guy with the book, and the guy with the candlestick. That is the correct order. And then up here is picture. We're in a file here, back out. And there's going to be an item on the other side of this painting. Yo, Sweeker, how's it going, my man? It's going good, dude. It's going good. Had a couple of power outings earlier on, but in general, pretty good. Right, out of here, you want to be holding upright. Hi, Astral, how's it going? You want to be going upright. This can be quite annoying. There's a very slick dodge you can do here. I've never pulled it off. Some of the top runners, check out their runs, they can do it. I tend to just hold upright and then try to hug the wall and hope for the best. So, upright out there, and then around the side of this guy, we took a bite. Thing is, if you take a bite from that guy, you're probably going to take a bite from this guy. There you go. Unfortunate, but not much of an issue because we did heal. We'll head up here. Away we go. So you will notice now on the right that my inventory is full. Right, into a save room. Nice tune. The inventory is full, right? And so if you need to heal, I would recommend picking up this herb, and you will see that we don't have to go into the inventory to use it. So pick it up. They'll prompt us to use it. There we go. Nice tip. This one here. So I'll mention this now because this is quite useful and it comes up in a very important way later in the game. You'll notice on some items that there are 4 options. So on other items there are 3. On this there's 4. Again, the first 3 are the same. So use, item, equip, whatever. Examine, combine. This one is just use on its own. We're going to use it now because we can't equip this item, we can't fire this item, but we can use it. So we're going to put it into a slot on the door. This is way more important later on. I'll talk about it when we get to it. But for now, let's use. Into this room, we have a small puzzle to do, and then we're going to meet an enemy. On this one, there's a cutscene here. Skip through it. The code for this is 1971, which I believe is like the birth date of the main bad guys, I think. So the main baddies are Alfred and Alexia Ashford, the twins, very creepy twins. So the code is 1971. After this cutscene, as soon as you move, we're going to get another cutscene with a Bandersnatch. So I like to just hold right, and it will activate the cutscene. Just do what you can. Sometimes I take it. Well, most of the time I take a swipe here. I don't know if there's a consistent way to avoid it, but there we are. Right. So down here, at the moment, this bridge is empty. Later on, it's full of zombies. A pretty good place to practice zombie dodging, actually. But when we climb these stairs, there's going to be 2 Bandersnatchers. Now, you can just run straight. I like to turn into the first Bandersnatch. I feel like it's fairly consistent. I'll try to show you. But the thing about the Bandersnatchers are they're quite random and they can track you, which is kind of annoying. But I like to turn in. And then we took a swipe on the second guy. Let's see what happens if we just run forward. Because sometimes I see people just running forward. Again, I feel like if you're looking for a very top time, you might just want to take a chance. Personally, I never do. For that reason. Up here, and they're going to follow us up. Okay. So we have the lighter equipped, and this is why. In this room there are bats. If we don't have the lighter equipped, they will come for us. So we need the lights to be equipped in this area. We use this again one more time in the game. I'll talk about that later. Make sure you have the lighter equipped, and make sure you do it when you are in the menu doing something else. Don't go into the menu just to equip the lighter. Okay, first aid spray there. I'm not going to take it for now, but it's there if you need it. So we're going to get a cutscene again. Move while the fading's happening. There you go. Into this room. So this part we're doing here, you can do on the return to this mansion later, but there's like 4 zombies outside this door. So why bother with that? Okay, so we need this music plate. And this is our first example of a polygonal item in this game. So they brought this back for this game. Last time it was seen was in RE1 OG. So we need to examine, and we can move the items. And inside this item is the item that we need, the Queen Ant object. I like to when I examine an item like this, I like to hold action and just mash cancel, and then use. Turn around. The key. You can't really do much during. You can't move very much during that bed slamming animation. So I like to just hold left, spin around. Okie dokie. So now we have 1 space in the inventory, which is important because we're about to enter a fairly dangerous part of the run, and I have died there many times. You need to pick up an item very quickly, and so you don't want to have the inventory full. Obviously, if it's full with items that you can't use, like there's no healing item, then. By the way, do a quick left turn coming out of this door. You would always dodge that guy. I like to go down the left-hand side of this Bandersnatch, no matter what. I just consistently do those lines. And we go past those guys one more time. But yeah, you need an inventory space for this upcoming part, and you will have one if you're following this correctly. But you may have a healing item as well, and you need to have used it before you enter the room, basically. In here, if you get this line correct, you won't get hit by this Bandersnatch. Out here, you can turn quite sharpish into this door. And here again, just hold straight and slightly left. You'd always get past that guy. And then here again. This zombie here, he's either by the door or he isn't. I tend to go around the back and just force my way through. Let's make a save state here. Okay, so this room. So this room has 2 Bandersnatches in, and we need to get an item on the floor. The way I do this, straight away when I enter the room, I hold upright and run. I loop around. If you get bad RNG, the Bandersnatch will hit you straight away. And if that's the case, I just run forward. If not, I loop around the back of him. The second one, I come in round to Claire's left-hand side. Like, I see a lot of people try to go the right-hand side. It just, for me, it doesn't work. So let's just do this a couple times to see what happens. So I'm holding upright and action. And we got the good RNG, so I've looped around him. And I'm going to come inside him here. Now, when you're picking up this item, if you don't get a quick pickup, they can knock you away from the item, even when you're bending down to get it. That's where it kind of gets dangerous. You're going to take damage in this room. I've done this room with no damage, you know, a couple times. But that's really it. I'll try to get the bad RNG. I'll try to do it so we get a bad RNG. We didn't get it, but we got stuck on him slightly, which is bad. I see a lot of people tried to come this way, and it worked then because I was delayed slightly on the way in. If you get through there optimally, you usually can't get around the right-hand side of that guy. Claire's right. Basically, if he smacks you there, just run forward. Okay. Well, this room can be really problematic. These days, I'm not too worried about it. You know, I'll come into this room in caution these days. But once upon a time, I would die there a lot. Okay. So we have our second blue emblem. Plate. Sorry. Come to the left-hand side here. Drop down. Now we're heading back to the prison. We call this section Prison 2. Okay, these Bandersnatches. I like to just try to judge where they're turning and try to move with it. It's kind of random. There are lines you can take. I didn't take a very good one there. That increase your chance of success there, but basically sometimes you may take a smack, sometimes you might not. Again, these herbs are here. The inventory's full again, so if you feel like you need to heal, feel free to take one and it will happen very quickly. But we are coming up to a first aid spray that we can use when the inventory is full, and that tends to be the heal for the game. So the top players will tell you that this is a 1 heal run, and this heal, this first aid spray coming up, is the heal, is the one we're talking about basically. Unfortunately, I'm not good enough to get through this entire game healing once. We're heading back to the beginning here. Very interesting little point coming up here now. I'll show you right now. Let's make a save state here. So if I use this crest on this door, you'll see that when it opens, there's 2 zombies. And we just can't get past them. Right. The way to do this is a kind of interesting strat. You need to use the item, go back into the inventory, and wait for the music to kick up. And you will get past. I don't know why that works, it just works. Here we want to go left and spin inside. If you go straight there, you head back to the metal detector area. And you have to do a number of things. You have to push some boxes and blah blah blah. And then you can take all the items that you left in the metal detector area out with you. Now for glitchless, some people do that because there's a neat weapon in there called BOW rounds, and that makes one of the mid-boss fights really easy. But it's not optimal for a speedrun, so I wouldn't recommend going to get them, to be honest. I would recommend learning the more optimal strat. The first aid spray is in there. Not gonna take it for now because the inventory isn't full. It'd just be a waste. But what we need to do is leave this room and come back in, and we have another mini boss fight coming up. The Doctor. He's basically a zombie that's always in turbo mode. Now this, you can do this. There's two enemies in here. You can do them in one shot. What you need to do is run slightly forward and slightly left, aim and shoot up. We want the grenade launcher equipped for this. We didn't get it. So what can happen is you can just, if you take a bite, just get him. I found it. Yeah, so if you leave this guy alive, it becomes slightly more problematic because you need to pick up an item from the floor. You need to pick up an item from the floor, and if he's alive, it can prevent you from doing that. Also on the way out if he's still alive. But this, try to get it in one shot. 2 shots is not too bad. But optimally, you want to get it in one shot. More often than not these days, I get it in one shot. Of course, I'm not going to get it now because it's a tutorial. I'm trying to show you what to do, so I'll never get it. But it's actually not that easy. Like, genuinely. There's quite a few things in this section that are not that easy. There you go. So there's an item on the floor here. This thing. Now, if you're in any kind of poor health here, you can just now go use the first aid spray. But into here we go. Now we need the lighter to be equipped. Most people do it this way. Use the item, and because that door's sliding open, and it remains sliding open while we're in the menu, they go back into the menu and do that. I'm not sure how much time that actually saves, so, you know, do it if need be, but it's a kind of micro time save in my opinion. Here, we need to head inside. We're going to head down these stairs into this room. I like to upright here and hit this item from the side, and then we need to push a statue around now. The reason I do this is because rather than positioning myself for a quick turn, I position myself just for a quarter turn. I feel it's slightly faster. So we do this, and now we're about to use the sword on an item in the wall. We need an item, and there's going to be a zombie. There's like a casket on the wall, basically, or some kind of chamber. There it is. We put the sword in there, and an enemy is going to burst out. Now you want to be fairly flush with this, like fairly straight on. And what you need to do is you need to buffer the enemy. So we know the enemy is going to grab us, right? We know it's coming, so we should be able to shake it off without taking damage. Let's do this. So I'm holding forward and run, and then I'm matching very quickly. There you go. Now that enemy can, if you approach that at a weird angle, when the enemy falls, he can block the item, and it's very bad news. Okay, here. This dodge. This is one of the harder dodges in the game. That one there. So we got it. What you need to do is sort of hug the right hand side and just arc out. There. Hug the right hand side and then there's a quick left turn. It's a lot harder than I just made it look. It's one of the harder dodges in the game. Once you have a feel for it, it's not too bad. But it's pretty hard. First aid sprays here, grab that on the way out, unless you're in very, very good health, then don't bother. The way out here, this is consistent, so turn left here and out, but out here, the enemy patterns are just completely random. This is bad. So they're blocking the gate. Should be on here. Where those enemies are positioned is just random. There are a couple of different patterns. I have got out of that one without taking damage once or twice, but generally speaking, you're just hoping for good luck. That's just basically it. Which is kind of the case for a lot of things in this game, which is unfortunate. But there are instances later on where we do have control. So later on, when we take control of Chris, we have hunters. There are hunters in this game. So from the previous RE1 and 3, I guess, there's hunters. They all have specific manipulations and lines, so you really shouldn't be taking any damage. That's arguably the most dangerous enemy. It's the easiest to deal with, so keep that in mind for later and we'll talk about it. I'll have a good laugh when I get killed by a hunter. Yo, Gem, how's it going, sir? Hello. So here, to just there we go. Just try to react to their movements. There's no dogs here now on the CV on the Code Veronica version of the game. There are dogs here still. Reason being that this is a new cutscene with Mr. Wesker himself.
You must be the lovely Claire Redfield.
Who are you?
Let's just say that I'm a ghost, coming back to haunt your dear brother.
Wesker?
Wesker? Yeah, so Wesker's in this game. He's barely in the original Code Veronica, and he's in this a bunch, which, to be blunt, I don't care about, but if you're into that kind of thing, he is in this game a lot. But up here, this enemy, you want to go around the right-hand side. Claire's right. Fairly consistent. And into this room. This is where we're going to perform the glitch. So let me make a save here. This is important. So straight away, I upright and pick up this item. There's explosives. And come over to the piano. So we need to use the piano roll on this, but now we're going to do our glitch. And so what we need to do is we need to equip the bowgun. Equip. And then we need to combine the bowgun with the explosives. And now we have 10 explosive arrows. It's a good weapon, but we only have 10. Now we have our arrows in the next slot. So this is slot 6, the arrows are in slot 7. I want to combine these arrows with these arrows. What happens if I combine from this one to this one, it will mess up the entire glitch. In this game, always combine from the item that's higher in the inventory, because it will put you back on that item. It's really useful. I'll talk about it again later, but it's really useful. So you want to go to this one in slot 7. Also, try to get into the habit of going up for combine. So you can go 1, 2 for combine, or you can just go up. Combine, and with this item. Okay, so now we have our equipped bowgun with 10 arrows, explosive arrows, and we have 50 there. Now, this is all linked to this item. You can open this item from the menu. So if I click on this item now, it will open the book. But the glitch will not work. What you need to do is hit cancel and head over to the file menu. And just keep mashing through and it will open that item. There it is. This is the user manual. And what happens is it shifts items over. And so now, head back to the items. You'll see at the top in the equipment or the equipped, I've got 50 regular arrows equipped. But if you go out to the menu, I have the bowgun. And this bowgun has explosive bolts. And so what's happened here is the game has retained, in this slot 7, has retained, in this one, where the bowgun was in slot 6. It's retained the information for what weapon we have equipped and what type of ammo. However, it applies the quantity of whatever's now in slot 6 to that weapon. And it's I don't know the details, obviously, you can tell because I'm rambling through it. But this is a very useful thing. And you can do it with any weapon, you can do it with a herb, but this is the optimal way to do it. So at the moment we have 49 explosive arrows. The key thing is you can't unequip this weapon, you can't equip anything else. If you unequip, you lose the glitch. And in a glitched run, you're probably starting again. If you don't have a very optimal time, when you get to Nosferatu, the third boss fight that we use this weapon on, you can just use the sniper rifle. But realistically, you want to be using this weapon. So we take our item, and now we're heading back to not the palace, the residence, the house, the mansion, whatever, castle. Come this side of this guy now, the right hand side. Sometimes you get bad RNG and he's just blocking you and you'll take a bite. This is unfortunate, but whatever. And here now, again, I'm not sure what you can do to mitigate this guy smacking you. Sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't. Now, the bridge. This is a good place to practice zombie dodges, but I'll show you a couple of ways. I now do what Popo does. When the camera changes, just go left. Let's dodge him out. I used to do it this way. Originally I used to shoot this first guy because he can be quite annoying on the way back. I used to go right here, left. You can see it didn't work. Let's try that again. Yeah, so I used to front this guy, go left, and I can't do it anymore. But you can go right, and you can. It's a much more difficult pattern. Basically, what you're trying to do is you're trying to face up to the enemies and then duking them left or right. Go left. It's way more consistent. So when the camera changes, just left. The way that guy, the way him. You know, you're going to take grabs there occasionally. I still do. Better players than me still do. Yeah, there's no enemies here for now. The Bandersnatchers do show up. Yeah, so the thing with CVX is you can be as good as you can be the greatest player ever, but sometimes you're just going to take grabs. Those guys there, if they grab you, I like to put these guys down. So, stop grabbing this guy. Well, let's start this entire section again. So, because we have a surplus of arrows here. We have a surplus of arrows, but so I'm going to use some of them to take down some zombies in this area. It's kind of important because there's a weird thing about this game where if an enemy is on the stairs, you can't climb the stairs. You can't go up or down the stairs. It's ridiculous, but what happens is if you leave these enemies alive on the way out, if they block you, those two at the bottom can start to climb the stairs, and you have to wait until they're all the way up the stairs or shoot them. And it wastes so much time. Plus, this weapon is very fast. We have a lot of them, you know, it's easy to take enemies down with it. Okay. Now again, if you chose not to go get the item, the vase earlier on, you would have went right there and done that whole thing. Kind of waste of time because you have to come back out and go here again. So now we use the blue ant. We're going to place in this music plate. Okay. We got a very weird contraption that has no place being over the bed ever. Well, okay. Up we go. And here. So here, you want to turn out left. There's a herb in this room, just here. So there's a herb there if need be. But what we're looking for is this item. You can go left or right here, it doesn't really make any difference. I think it's slightly faster left, but time save is minuscule. And then we're going to this painting thing on the wall. We want to examine the item. And we'll be able to remove the wings. And that then becomes a key, which we use. Here we should be facing the correct way, so we just run out. This ladder you can hit from the side. You don't even need to change the camera. You know, I did anyway, but you don't need to. This here, this box, 4 and a bit shoves. So it looks like that will never work, right? But it does. Again, I'll show you what happens here if I'm not holding action and I just cancel. The text scrolls like that. If you're holding action and you're mashing cancel, you go straight for the text very quickly. Kind of very important thing to note because it's useful in a lot of places. Here, I like to spin out, go down here. Off the end of the bed. And we get a couple of cutscenes. Basically, Alfred has been dressing as his sister, who we now believe dead. It's a whole mess. But check out the run on YouTube if you want to do that, or play the game. If you want to see what happens. Right. Back out here, there's a first aid spray. Just here, which I didn't get. Probably don't need it, but let's pick it up anyway. Always be mindful of your health, your HP. You know, figure out, do I need this, do I need that? Hopefully these guys haven't come on the stairs now because it took forever to do that. They haven't, well, we were good. Again, a quick little left tap here. It'll take you out of the range of that guy. If you try to go wide on a Bandersnatch, it will grab you by the head, and it's not good. It's a very big time loss. Here, I just like to hold straight. Just hold straight and pray. the vast majority of the time it will be okay. The last guy, when the camera changes, I usually make a detour because I can actually see where he is. But yeah, generally speaking, just holding straight there is completely fine. Now we're getting towards the end of what we call Claire Island. Out of here. We're on our way to several boss fights. This guy, he's either moving or he's not. You know, make a judgment call. And then there's an item here. When I pick up this item, I'm going to get a cutscene. Again, I like to just tap left. Repositions me to face this way. Another cutscene. Now we have plenty of arrows, but if you're just starting out, I would recommend picking up these arrows too. We don't need them, it's very much a surplus, but
We gotta get to that airport.
just to be safe, you know, pick them up. But very quickly drop that strategy because you really don't need it. This section here, go for a quick breather. Steve takes control for a few seconds. This run's quite full on with outdoors, like you don't really ever stop. Oh, here, there's a cutscene at the top of these stairs. Sometimes you get a weird, very rare glitch where it doesn't activate the cutscene. It did for us there, so we just skip through it. So here we need to go forward. This guy, dance around this guy. We're trying to commandeer a plane to escape. Steve can fly a plane for some reason. This, you can hit the hitbox from quite far away. Look how far away I am from that console. This one. Now we need to put in our free proofs. Again, be very careful not to unequip the glitch. Okay. Yeah, so I should have mentioned with S rank, so the S rank game, the S rank version of the game, at the end of Prison 2, so after the whole prison thing, you want to head back to the very beginning of the game, back through the graveyard, back downstairs, back to the prison cell, and give the medicine to the guy down there, and he will give you a lockpick. That is the catalyst for the S rank. You need to do that. It's fairly straightforward. It's the same line into the graveyard as earlier, and then pretty much the same line out. There's not much to it, but you need to remember to go do that. For rocket launcher, you obviously don't need the grenade launcher. Some people... So, there's a mid-boss fight called Nosferatu, which you fight with a sniper rifle, or a knife, incidentally, which I'll get to later. So, use this lever on this item. We need to raise this bridge. Yeah, so you can fight Nosferatu with a sniper rifle or a knife, which both are somewhat difficult, especially when you start playing the game. Yeah, for rocket launcher, a lot of people like to leave Claire with the rocket launcher for that boss fight, but the most optimal way to do it is to leave the rocket launcher in the box and fight him with the sniper rifle or the knife. Because Chris needs it more than Claire. So, anyone who's interested in doing rocket, that's what you need to do. You don't need the grenade launcher, so you skip that whole section. Rocket launcher is okay. You can't aim up or down with the rocket launcher, which makes it difficult for some enemies, particularly hunters. So, while it may seem like a more simplistic way to play the game, and it is, because it makes some of the boss fights really easy, this category is more efficient and actually easier. Okay, so I'm going to make a save here because I'm going to show the first Tyrant boss fight, because I don't have a saved video of it. I have videos for the other boss fights, but I didn't make one for this. So you would not pick up those those grenade rounds, but I'm gonna pick it up and show the fight. Here, you can't really push the box from here for some reason. You need to head straight to the corner. Box pushing in this game is wildly inefficient. It's very bad. Sorry if you can't hear me, by the way. The self-destruct thing is extremely loud. Hopefully I'm coming through clear.
Until detonation.
So I will... There's a cutscene here, by the way, we need to skip. So I'm just going to mash through it. I'll make a save state right before this fight, and I'll do it both ways, but we're going to continue with the glitch. There's actually seven grenade rounds. So let's make our save here. Let's make sure it works. It does. So what I need to do here is I'm gonna quit this guy, and you'll notice we've lost the glitch, but we'll come back to this. Okay, thanks, Jem. Yeah, this one you can't run past this guy at all. You can't run past him, so don't try. You want to get up a bit close and start shooting. Okay. So I think that was slightly inefficient, but that is generally speaking what you need to do. I'm going to show you what to do with the glitch. It's actually 17 bolts, but I like to put 18 on them just to be sure. Okay. He actually has iframes on the way down, so invincibility frames. So when he's on his way down and his way up, the arrows will just fly straight through him. So just be wary of that. But yeah, generally speaking, it's pretty easy. And now, because I picked up these extra grenades so I could show off the tyrant fight, I have more grenades than I would usually need at this point, or have for a glitched 20% run. But if you're starting out, you're probably going to pick up a lot more ammo, right? So it's all good. And the better you get, the less you will need those pickups and things like that. So. Oh yeah, this sub, you don't need to run to the ladder. Just quick turn and hit action. Hitbox is really, really big. Another nice little time-saving trick. There we go. Now we're heading to probably the most infamous boss fight in this entire game, which is Plain Tyrant. We're going to make it pretty easy, and again, once you're experienced with this game, it's not too bad. It's infamous because a lot of people, a lot of first-time players get to this boss fight without enough healing or enough ammo, and the game does not allow you to compensate for that at all. It just... Hey-ish. No, so I'm showing the glitched any percent category, but I do have a video showing glitchless. I'll bring it up in a moment. Okay. So as our friend Dish has said there in chat, at this point, if you're doing glitchless, you will need 6 acid rounds, and then a whole heap of grenade rounds. You can have the BLW rounds, but it's pretty slow. You don't want to do that. Okay, so here we go. Here, we want to hit him with 24. Some people say 25, and I think they do that just to be safe. I have messed this up sometimes by miscounting, but it is actually in fact 24. Skip over this, and at this point I'm going to get you get prompted to make a save. So this is the halfway point of the game, effectively. It's not the halfway point of the speedrun. If you make a save here, it does not count towards it does not count as an actual save. You'll see here that we get a 0-0. And so if you're going for any kind of ranking, if that means anything to you, it won't matter that you make a save there. guys, I'm just going to take a small break. It won't be 2 seconds, and then we'll get back onto disc 2. I will, before I go, I will show you a, I will show you Plane Tyrant. So this is me doing Plane Tyrant. So straight away you want to hit him with 6 acid rounds as quickly as possible. If you're quick enough, you can get a grenade round shot in as well. Generally I'm not. And so what you want to do here is skip past him and go into the inventory. Now I like to combine the grenades and I usually take a heal. And now I think it's like 7 shots. I think I might use 8 here, but it's 7. You don't want to run too far away from him because he will charge you. And there's a Q. There's a Q for when he's done. If you're not using the SRT, he lurches backwards now. So he's done. And he gave me a helping hand there. He smacked me back to the console. So that, generally speaking, is how that's done. That was not the most efficient way to do it, but it's good enough. Right, we'll be back in 2 seconds, guys. Must pee. Okay. Right, where are we? So on the Dolphin emulator, you need to switch to a different, on this version of the game even, you need to change disc. The in-game timer is stopped here, so as mentioned at the beginning, it's fine. Let's jump straight back in. Couple of cutscenes to skip over. Very interesting cutscene. Steve tries to kiss Claire when she's asleep. Okay, so this is the Antarctic, or the Antarctic terminal base or whatever. Okay. So now we're about to encounter one of the more troublesome enemies in this game, the moths. These things respawn, so there's no point in killing them unless you're doing like no damage or something. Yeah, you just have to try to react, try to mash quickly if they grab you. You know, you can very easily get poisoned. There's a blue herb planter in this room as well. They very conveniently place the blue herbs in the only place where you get poisoned every 10 seconds. For me, I like to come in on this side, on the left-hand side, or Claire's left of the corridor, and then spin to the right. That tends to be quite consistent for me. Sometimes you will take some damage, but all no good. Here you can go into this left-hand room, or you can go right. Out of habit, I just go right. I don't know. I don't think it makes any difference. So in this room, if you're doing S rank in this room, these zombies will be awake. For some reason, when you heal Rodrigo, these guys are up, and you have to just try to dodge them, you know, do what you can. If you're doing glitched S rank, just put them down with some arrows or whatever, it's fine. So we've got ourselves a key, and then we're going to go straight across to the BOW room. You know, let's make a save here. These guys are pretty annoying. There's 2 spiders in this room. I like to sort of arc in and then do a sharp right-hand turn. There's an item over the side of the room. Turn out. We're actually okay. That's kind of just the strat I use. I'm not sure if anyone... Not sure if anyone has a better line than that, but that's kind of what I just do. I copied that off Popo, man himself. Here is our second logic bomb of the game. Remember earlier when we needed to know the code from a painting? We now need to know the shape of this valve. If you later on, excuse me, Claire has to do some machining and reshape a valve. If you don't go up to it and check that the valve itself, you won't know the solution. The character won't know the solution. This dog, I killed this dog. If you're looking to save some seconds, you can run past it and just hope that it doesn't grab you. Oh God, excuse me, guys. We just turned on the power. That dog's dead, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue, but there's a dog around this corner. I had to spin out around the back, just try to confuse his AI slightly, and away we go. So that's pretty okay. As I say, you don't have to kill that first dog if you're looking to save a nice amount of time. Here, so around this way, activate this control panel. Now what we want to do is we want to place our barcode sticker on this box, and then activate the conveyor belt. This is going to send that box into the room with the spiders. It will break open, releases some kind of gas, and it allows us to access the gas mask. This guy, if he's moving, I go behind him. If he's not moving, I go in front. How much time are we saving if we examine the slot before turning the power? None. It's the same. As far as I'm aware, it's exactly the same. I just do it out of habit. I just do it first, so I remember to do it. But it's essentially the same. Okay, the moth guys. Here we go. Try to mash very quickly when they land on your back. Otherwise, they lay eggs and they can poison. What's worse than poisoning, though, they hatch and they stop the character. The character gets locked in an animation where she's removing the egg. If that happens on the way back through, you're in the middle of a crowd of zombies and you can't move, and they still move. Gets kind of ugly. Okay, we want to give this bookcase a shove. 4 shoves should do it, and then we get a cutscene. That rat's like it's called Didge, a developer's inside joke or something. And if you play the battle game as Wesker, you find a diary written by that rat. It's kind of interesting. Here, you'll notice that I'm running and mashing action. You can't pick up this item while running for some reason. Very strange feature. That's actually true of several items in this game. Don't know why, but there we are. Yeah, so as Ish says in chat there, that rat is everywhere. Basically, that rat appears in certain places. I think the idea is that you read its diary, and then when you go back and play the game again, you can see it in certain... It references certain instances in the game. We want to pick up these arrows. We have a lot of arrows here because I picked up extra to show you where they were. Generally speaking, this is the pickup you want to do. We also need to bank. So what we're doing here is we're getting rid of the grenade launcher and the bowgun. We're leaving those in the box for Chris. However, you will notice we still have the bowgun. That's because of the glitch, and so we get to keep it. Obviously, in glitchless, you won't have that luxury, so you want to just bank. You want to bank the grenade launcher and the bowgun with 10 explosive arrows. You want to leave Chris 10 explosive arrows in the bowgun. It's very important. Because they're way more useful for Chris than Claire. In anything except the glitch category, obviously. Right now, we need to examine this item again. There's a key on the bottom. Use it. In here is our valve. There we go. For me, that tends to be one of the easier quick pickups. I don't know why. But yeah, here we go. Here's Steve. So Steve was operating heavy machinery, and he started to check Claire out, and he's now flooded the base with poisonous gas, which is oh, Steve. So now we need to shut off the gas. We come into this room here, and there's a blue herb on the floor here, by the way. So if you've been poisoned, you may want to take it, because it's a blue herb you can pick up without being terrorized by moths. Let's use this. I'm menuing it slightly out here because I don't usually have those grenade rounds. I've left them in the inventory by mistake. But I am going to keep them in the inventory for Claire, because usually I would not need them. I picked them up just for the purpose of showcasing the first tyrant boss fight. So that's the reason I haven't taken them out of the inventory, but usually will not have them. And if you do have them, so you're doing glitchless, you will have already combined those with the grenade launcher. Wow. Okay. This is the worst. This is the worst of the moths. This section here. This one, I like to go fairly wide around this guy. You know, sometimes he grabs you, sometimes he doesn't. Can't cut through the middle. It's, you know, try to figure out what line works best for you. For me, that's fairly consistent. We took a grab there. Sometimes you do. Again, CBX. Zombies are very annoying. Up this way, and we want to use our valve here. Now, this is where it differs. In the glitchless and the rocket launcher, for a beginner, you want to pick up that sniper rifle. We're doing glitched, so we don't want to do that. But I will show you now what to do on glitchless and rocket launcher. So I'm going to show the sniper rifle method. This is me doing this. The sniper rifle is slightly slower because you have to go pick up the sniper rifle itself, and there's an unskippable cutscene. So that's why it's slower than the knife strategy. The knife strat is very, very difficult. I'll show you somebody who can do it. Yamachan, one of the best ever players of this game, he developed that strat, and it's very hard to do. I've tried it. I've got it once or twice, but for me, it's not consistent enough to do. So let's look at the sniper rifle. So he takes 3 shots to the heart and damage anywhere else. But what you want to do is, what you actually want to do is make sure the final shot is a heart shot, and you will get that cutscene. Otherwise, he just drops down dead, and you have to watch him fall down, and it takes a long time. So, what I like to do is 2 shots to the heart, a shot anywhere, and a final shot to the heart. Let's see if we can see it again. That step forward is kind of risky, but for me, it's better than running far away. Always move when you shoot, by the way, because he tracks you, and he starts to hit you with poisonous gas. If you take like 6 or 7 hits with the gas, you become poisoned. But it's not just regular poison, it's like super poison. You can't heal it with a blue herb, and later on when Chris reconnects with Claire, you have to do a side mission to go get like medicine, serum, I guess. And it's just too much of a time loss to accept in the speedrun. Right, this is the knife. This is by Yamachan. Check him out, please. Superb CBX runner. Japanese guy, really nice as well. He came up with this strat. So that's actually the fastest way to do it. As you can see, it may just be slightly slower than my sniper rifle strat, but as mentioned, you need to go get the sniper rifle, which wastes way too much time. So let's see it again. I'm not sure which run this is from. I just pick one of his runs, dude. He does it in every category, right? So it's, okay, very nice. But we're going to circumvent all of that, and we're going to use our glitched weapon. Okay, so what you want to do is activate the cutscene, just turn left and just run to the opposite side. Now, it's like 30, I think it's like 30 or 30 something arrows. Usually I just empty my weapon at this point. If you like, there's a first aid spray in this corner, which you can just make. We don't need it, so we're going to roll on. We're on to Chris. Okay. So Chris has now arrived on the island where we were before. So here we see Rodrigo. In the S rank, the worm eats Rodrigo at this point. And so when you fight the worm in a moment, when you kill it, you get an extra small cutscene you need to skip. You get an extra menu because this guy gives you the lighter from earlier on. And you have to walk around his body. We're not going to worry about it now, but there we go. Right, so Chris, the optimal way to do Chris is to bank. So we need to trade out the gun for the grenade launcher, trade out these ammunition for the handgun ammo, and usually I would bank the first aid spray. If you're just beginning, you might want to keep the first aid spray and pick up the side pack, and you'll get 2 extra slots with Chris. If you don't need to do it, I don't do it anymore. But for the purpose of this guide, I'm going to do it. Right, so we want to do a quick turnout, and we want to equip our bowgun straight away. Let's make a save here. There's a number of ways you can do this. I stick with my strat, which is not optimal, but for me it's fairly consistent. I will try to show you both. What I do, I walk forward 6 steps. And then you hit him with 4. He takes 4 explosive arrows. Run around here, and you need to activate the elevator. So what you can do is just run straight to the elevator, come back to the save room, and go back to the elevator, and it will come up. So if you don't have the ammo for some reason or whatever, or if you make a mistake and you want to retain the ammunition, you can just do this. You risk getting hit basically, but you can just head back to the save room. Obviously, with doors, you don't ever want to be doing this. It's just way too much time loss. But with outdoors, it's manageable. If you're desperate, you can do it, and the elevator will be down. You can actually stay in this room and run around, and the elevator will come eventually, but it's just way too slow. So, really, make a save, get an emulator with save states and just practice. I would recommend trying my strat. It's easier, but then when you get really good, you want to do what the big guys do, which is they walk a few steps here and then run. There you go. Actually, slightly more optimal because you're closer to the elevator. For me, that strat is less consistent, and even my strat, there is an element of randomness or RNG. Sometimes it rises and just goes straight back in the floor. Sometimes it doesn't rise for a while. The worm, it can be a very rough point. For me these days, it's not too much of an issue, but historically, that's caused me a lot of problems. There we go. So now we need to head out here. activate the switch on the back of the tank, and we're going downstairs. We're looking for a battery pack. The goal here is to just work our way through the island and then follow Claire to the Antarctic. Okay, Isha said, hate when he wiggles, the bolts tend to miss. Yeah, the bowgun is an interesting weapon for sure as well. Sometimes it just misses for no reason. Particularly on 2 zombies. The first zombie you shoot in the palace or the mansion. And a zombie coming up in a moment. I just don't bother trying to kill this zombie anymore. Often I will just take a grab and be done with it. That spider, always hug the right hand side, so Chris's right hand side. And you'll just stroll past it, no big deal. This guy here, you can try to shoot him. I tried to go kind of wide. That didn't work out. He went turbo anyway. I tried to loop around kind of wide and come in here. Oh, this guy's turbo as well. And use this item, and then you very quickly need to try to get onto this ledge. We just about made it. That's an interesting zombie. That second guy usually doesn't present an issue, obviously. I took a very bad line in, but I tried to go a little bit wide and try to bait a lunge. Sometimes that'll give you ample time to get to the switch and place the battery and get up on the side. It can be done. More often than not, I take a grab there and just try to buffer it. The hitbox on this is huge. This key, I'm like a literal mile away from the counter. So mash into that item. Here we're gonna get 2 cutscenes. If you're playing on emulator, when you have an FPS display or a tracker, when the FPS drops, that's a good hint at when to start skipping the cutscenes. So we're going to go up and down this elevator many times with Chris. If you're doing this with doors, going to an incorrect floor is terminal. Just reset. Without doors, it's not too bad, but you still lose a hell of a lot of time. So we're going from the 2nd floor to the basement first. You will go to the wrong floor. Inevitably, it just happens. Like, I've lost many a run doing this. So we're back in this section. We need to head down these stairs. They've now come down. There's a shotgun on the wall here. If you take this shotgun, those stairs lift up and you have to watch an animation. I see a lot of new players taking this because they're scared of the hunters. Don't take the shotgun. You don't need it. The hunters all have manipulations and lines. Like these days, if I get hit by a hunter, it's a very, very bad mistake on my part. Not luck, there's no luck involved or whatever, in my opinion. It's all about taking the correct lines, doing the correct manipulations. A good tip that I got from Popo, which came from Nermat, I guess. If you stay close to items and walls, they won't jump, the hunters. And so in this room, there's an item on the floor here, and it's flashing, tempting you to pick it up. Don't pick it up. When you pick up that item, it brings 2 hunters into this room, 2 I think. And then when you head out to this room, there's a puzzle in this room as well. If you pick up the doorknob first, you activate 2 hunters, and then you get a poisonous hunter called a sweeper in this room. If you come to this room first, you don't get the sweeper, so don't pick up the doorknob first. In here, there's some herbs on the side here if need be, but there's actually a blue herb there, so they have poisonous hunters in this game called sweepers. You can recognise them. They have sort of red veins on them. They can poison, so you might want to pick up a blue herb if you want to be safe. We're going to chance it. The solution to this puzzle is 128, 12.8, or 128 Fahrenheit in the US version. I believe it's the date that the facility was built or some crap. But yeah, the goal of the Chris section is that we need to forge an item. We need to melt away some metal around one of those Blue Eagle plates from earlier on, and to do so we need 2 chemicals. That's the whole goal of the Chris section. We need to get ourselves a plate and then mix the 2. Okay. Making a save here. This, I like to just just turn on the spot right and then just try to leave. There's a number of strats. Some people run forward after the third cutscene. I just turn right, so the stakes stick close. There we go. Get out of there without taking damage. It's fairly consistent. But yeah, there are a number of potential lines to do there. That's just the one I like to do. I recommend you do it too. Up the stairs, be careful you're not mashing action too early, otherwise you will activate the shotgun. Oh god, sorry guys. Coughing like crazy. So now we're heading to the second floor once again. But this time there's going to be 2 zombies. So you want to upright straight out of the door. Back out this door, we get an unskippable cutscene here. And so that item is the one that we want. The hunters, along with the hunters come these cameras, those things. If you activate one of those cameras, a hunter appears. Yeah, try not to. That there was the side pack, gives us 2 extra slots. Again, personally I don't pick it up. But if you're just starting the game, I recommend that you do. Also here, something that I did for a very long time, you don't need to go into the menu and use the item, just action the door. I did that for the longest time. Because this game is not very active, you very rarely get people, you know, who either play the game and you can see them do it, or come into your chat and say, like, what about this, you should do this. So you tend to learn most of this game by doing. Yeah, I like to come inside there. Kind of a very safe line, but you don't want to activate that. It's not... So if you activate it on a certain camera angle, the hunter will come through a different door. So you won't have an issue with the hunter itself, but it wastes time. Here, quick upright, back into the elevator. Now we're going to the first floor. And we're about to encounter another camera. I do a specific line, I'm not sure it's necessary. I loop into the left here, loop back out to the right, and come in. Again, there are a number of ways. You can just wait for the camera to switch off, and blah blah blah, but you don't want to activate that, because when you leave this room, even if you run away into the room, the hunter will still be outside. That's not the case for every hunter camera. Some of them, the hunter disappears when you leave the room. This one it does not, and you need to get rid of it because you're going to come back to this area again. So now we're on to the basement again. And we have 2 things to do down here. We have to head to the airport, and we need to head to the area where we got the grenade launcher to get the second chemical. You can do it either way. Go to the airport first. It's the optimal way to do it. In here, we're about to see the last Bandersnatch of the game. We also get a cutscene with Mr. Wesker himself. I hold upright out of the cutscene. If he smacks you there, you know, cry. You're right. He's just been very unlucky. Let me just grab some water, guys. Won't be a second. Hey Astral, welcome back, sir. Okay, so here. Quick turnout. This box can be quite awkward. Sometimes it just won't drop down. If you're too far left on the box, it won't drop down. Yeah, so you can go left here. That takes you to the... When going left to his left, there's a red orange, you grab his face, yeah. If you go left here, that takes you to where you need to get the chemical. You want to go out here. Let me make a save here. So on the way out of here, you want to be holding upright and run. You want to arc out into the shutter. There's like a grey shutter on the side. You need to arc out, and then arc back to the door. You're going in that huge yellow door that we came out of with Claire earlier. This is fairly consistent. What we're doing is we're manipulating him into the wall. Just like so. That works every time. So, you shouldn't have an issue. In here, out here. Now, there's a hunter straight away. You need to be moving straight away. Up left, onto the elevator. That was a bad line, but the thing about the hunters, right? They're not difficult to deal with, but you need to be prepared. So when you go into a room, you need to be moving instantly. You need to be what we call pre-turning in Resident Evil, even though it doesn't always involve turning. You need to be taking control of the character before the fade in. Otherwise, you'll be in trouble with the hunters. This puzzle, there's several ways to do this puzzle. You can actually hit it from the side as well, interestingly. But the best way to do is 3, 4 times, and then 10 drain, 3, then 5. So 3. 3. 3. And 3 for a 4th time. Down to drain. And now you can do 5 and 3 or 3 and 5. The reason we do 3 and 5 is that you have to watch it fill back up. And obviously there's less volume in 3, so it's quicker. And then here, as soon as you move, you'll get a cutscene again. You don't need it. That item there is shotgun shells. You don't need them. Let's leave. But you can see how close I was to the door. There. Now this is very important. You need to lower this bridge. Personally, I've lost many a run forgetting to lower the bridge. Like an absolute fool. There we go. Again, this hunter, you need to be prepared. You need to be moving. Now out here, there's a hunter on the bridge. What you want to do is hug the wall. Very important. Hug the wall. And then you can turn out last minute. You can go either side of him. If you're not hugging the wall, he will jump straight at you. Wide on this guy. Now this hunter here, hunters are deaf or something in the lore of the game. And so you can manipulate them by not letting them see you. This guy, we want to take a few steps until he turns away. Activate this. So you don't want to activate him, don't let him see you. Otherwise, you're standing here trying to pick up items and he's directly behind you. And we need these items back again. This time you can run straight past him. We usually miss. On the way back in here, there's several lines. I go upright, behind the back, around the back. And then judge where this guy is. There you go. Also this hunter, I take 2 steps here. It's a bit of a cowardly line, but otherwise there's a chance he can activate. Or he can target you. Here, you must be holding up and run. Must be. Mass action. Otherwise you're going to take a hit. Here. Now, these are the poison hunters. Let me make a save. The hunters up here have been replaced with poisonous hunters, and this scares people. Up left. There you go. That line is very consistent. Very. Should always be okay. Here, I like to just hold forward, and whip you straight past this guy, and then react to this guy. I think that was a bad line. I can't tell. You can quite easily get through that room without taking a grab if you take a nice line. There's a guy on the floor here. He's alive. Well, he's a zombie who's not asleep. So, there, and then we need to activate this trigger. This spins on some fans and we can access this room. And away we go. Okay, up the stairs. Sometimes there's a guy on the stairs. There's a hunter in this room. Hold forward and run. If you don't open the gate, to get the grenade launcher, that hunter won't be there. So on rocket launcher, the hunter's not there. Doesn't really matter, but there we go. So now we have our second chemical. You'll see on the inventory that I'm now using the 7th slot. Not the 7th, sorry, the 9th. Without the side pack and without the first aid spray, the inventory would now be full. Which is why if you wanted to take the fast, then you need the side pack. Same again here. He's not watching that time, so you can do whatever, but run straight out. And then the same line again from earlier. Loop around. There we go. Now we're going to the first floor, and we're going to another boss fight. The Albinoid. This is one of 3 boss fights that you don't actually fight. So we just need to pick up an item and leave. The camera will be gone now. It was gone on the way out even. The hitbox for this thing is huge, by the way, as well, so you can get this pretty handily. Now there is a pickup we need coming up. The lovely Albinoid, of course, of course. So here, you hold straight, you'll be facing forward. Hug this wall, and you want to pick up this item. Now, it's quite an easy pickup for a quick one. I messed it up. That can get hairy. If that spider drops down in front of you, you're basically stun locked. You have to kill them, and it's crazy. Okay, the Albinoid. Let me make a save. So the Albinoid, this guy, he has several different attacks. He electrocutes the water, which is pretty bad. If he charges you, it's really bad. I have died here occasionally. This one, on this version of the game, the item is virtually invisible, so it's very difficult to see. The strategy is to try to stay behind him. So try to stay behind his head or face or whatever, and he will maybe not track you. But it is kind of difficult. Chris, how are we doing, sir? Welcome in. So I'll show you what I like to try to do. I like to try to drop into the water, up left into here, and wait for him. So this is pretty bad. Not to worry, we do have a save, but I will continue this just to show you what we can do. Right. That was fairly bad. Let's try again. Sometimes you can get it where you just stroll in, grab the item, and just leave. But again, the trick is to try to react to what the Albinoid does. One's actually slightly better. If I would have got a better pickup there, I would have been fine. I didn't. But yeah, that's definitely one to make a save in practice. It's interesting because it's like most things. You become experienced and you learn to deal with the enemies, but that thing, sometimes it can go and sit on top of the item. And then what do you do? Okay, interesting point of contention here. I actually go a different way here to everyone else, exclusively with door skip. So with door skip, I go to the 2nd floor and leave via that way. Hey Mercy, how's it going? I go to the 2nd floor and leave and don't take the shotgun. For me, it's quicker. For me, it's about 5 seconds quicker because you don't have to watch the shotgun animation. With doors, however, like the regular vanilla version of the game, I always go to the basement and take the shotgun. In fact, let's just make a save here, and I will do both. So I will go to the basement first. Again, without doors, I don't go to the basement. Just for me, it's slower. One thing though, you do give up the safety net of the shotgun. just in case. But generally, I tend to be okay. That way. But I don't go that way. So there's a zombie right out here, so you need to be up left straight away. So this is more risky, and again, if you're playing this game vanilla with doors, you don't want to go this way, it's way slower. For me and my own personal testing, this way is slightly faster without doors. But, you know, we need someone more consistent at the game than me to actually demonstrate that. But we shall see. Okay, now, so you want to combine there, and then you want to leave the bowgun equipped. Important. Combine, 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 and use. Okay. This is kind of important. If you wasted bowgun bolts at this point, you may want to pick up some flame rounds in the island section that's near the shotgun. Here, let's make a save. Out here, there's 2 vines. What you need to do is aim, shoot, and then use change target, which is L1, I believe, or the left bumper. This first vine can take 2 hits. The second one can also take 2, but for some reason, if you don't drop the aim, the second one always dies in 1 shot. I don't know why that's the case, but it seems to be the case. So that one's dead. See, I haven't dropped the aim. Yeah, I don't know why, but that is actually the case. But ideally, 1 shot each. Now we're left with 4 bolts. We need 1 bolt for Final Elixir. We need 1 bolt for the... We need 1 bolt for a vine just before the final boss as well. And so I have 2 spare. I tend to use one on one of the zombies right near the end of the game, but you don't need to. Okay, come here. We need to use this item. No. Trigger's a bit scuffed. Yo, Chris. Yeah, man. Got a new mic. So we need this item, the paperweight. It's actually a puzzle. And then we're going to hold action and mash through cancel. Now, we can't avoid being offered this ink ribbon. Say no. If you're taking the side pack, saying yes there by mistake is actually not a big deal. If you haven't taken the side pack, picking up that ink ribbon is, you have to bank it. By the way, don't go down the moth corridor. They bait you down there. The zombies block you in, basically, and there's nothing down there. You can't get through the door. They just bait your ass down there, and that's all she wrote. Right, now we need to go left here. Into this room. Now we're going to pick up the valve from earlier. You remember that valve? We get confronted with a unskippable cutscene where Chris just stands there while zombies appear. This is also one that you can't pick up while running. Kind of interesting. Let's make a save here. Now there are a couple of ways to do this. I used to run forward, quick turn, and run out. These days I use the aim to spin me around. So I'll try the quick turn first. I haven't done it in a very long time, so we'll see what happens, but we'll try that and then we'll try my way. Well, not my way, the way I use. That was kind of nice. We got a bit greedy though. So yeah, so what I'm going to do, when the cutscene ends, I will aim. It should spin me around 180 and I'll just run forward. There's no need to try to turn left or right. And then you need to react to the enemy placement of the next zombie. Well, didn't that shut me up? That had to be an insta-grab because usually you just run past them. Either way, we'll just deal with it now. There's no point in showing this 10 times. But yeah, what's more important than this first guy? The location of the second guy. If he's near the hole in the ice, go around it. If he's not, run forward. Like, not what I did there. Thank you, sirs. Let's just use this. Generally speaking, I just did exactly what I told you not to do. But if that guy's near the ice, just go around the other side. It's a small time loss, like movement-wise, but you're probably going to get grabbed. Okay, this dodge here, I think this is probably the hardest dodge in the game. There's a camera directly on the other side of this door. Let me make a save. Now, once you have the technique down, it's not too bad, but it's quite difficult to get. And it's quite important to get because, I mean, listen, if you activate the camera, try not to kill the hunter. If you can get away with not killing the hunter, then do. Because when you come back here later on, the hunter won't be there. So, this dodge, it works going left or right. I go left. I hold up left and run straight away. Skip the cutscene and then buffer run. What it does, it keeps Chris up against the wall like this. Like this. Keeps Chris up against the wall, and it keeps his hitbox out of the way of the camera. You want to be doing this kind of technique. Yeah, you can get it a lot smoother than that, and some of the better players will just do one hit and straight away. But we have a save, and so we'll do it until we get it. Just keep an eye on the inputs down below. There you go. Now you need a smoothish line through here, otherwise you can activate this camera. And even though it caught my leg there, I didn't activate the camera, and the hunter won't be there, and we didn't get the small cutscene. So that's how that's done. I would strongly recommend you get the Dolphin GameCube emulator and make a save state and just practice and practice and practice, and you will always. It's actually not that bad. Like, if I don't get that dodge these days, it's bad. But it is probably the hardest thing to do in the game. Right, so we want to use the valve there, and we want to throw on the power. We're going to come back here and turn off the power in a moment. Now, so I should say, the aim of this section now is to collect 3 jewels. And so you can split this section up into 3 distinct sections based on the jewels. The way we're going to do it is the fastest. You can do it in any order. Do the Alexia stuff last, because what happens is you then pick up Alexia's jewel and just head up the stairs and leave. I see a lot of people do that first and then come back to this area, and it's just backtracking. This game has enough backtracking as it is. You don't need to create your own backtracking. Right, so this here, there are 2 hordes of zombies. We want to buffer through them. Like so. You don't want to bother shooting them. I see people pick up the shotgun and try to take them down. Don't bother, it's slow. The shotgun's very bad in this game, by the way. The shotgun and the Magnum are both awful weapons. This here, little throwback to RE1. Need to take this. But this thing is powered by electricity, right? It gives you a clue in English. It says when you play it in English and presumably in Japanese. It tells you, oh, this thing is operated by electricity. But it's giving you a hint, because basically we need both of these jewels later on. But you can't take them while the power is active, so we need to turn it off on the way back past. And we'll get to that, But for now we need this this socket, or this extension for the valve. We put that back. There we go. Head up here. For this part, there's enemies on the floor. There's like ants, I guess, or whatever they are. It's completely random what they do to you. They definitely do 1 HP damage per hit. You may get hit, you may not. More likely than not, you'll take a lot of hits. So there's an item on the floor here, by the way, as well. We need that wing object. We need 4 of those wing objects as well. Okay, we didn't take a grab. Interesting. There's a herb there as well, if you want to. So we're going to get Alfred's jewel. This is where we use that paperweight. So you want to action on there. The trigger can be quite funny on this. So you can do this puzzle and be off the trigger for the item. And so you have to readjust afterwards. I think this should be okay. the solution to this puzzle is AA, crown, heart, spade. And to figure that out, you actually inspect the paperweight, the item there, spin it around, and it's like, you know, it's a kind of interesting puzzle. And this is off screen, our friend Alfred, he did demise, there he is. So we want to loot his corpse and take that item, there we go. So we have our first duel on the way out, there we go, that's what happens when you get nicked by the ants. And again, that does 1 HP damage, so not significant, but I have occasionally been knocked into caution by those, which is very annoying. Okay, this dodge here, I'm going to call it now, and I'll probably fail it. Easiest dodge in the game. Out of this door, hold upright and run, and you will always get the first dodge. The second one, you just have to maneuver around them. Looks very swag, but it's very easy. The dodge is free, as Ish says, dodge is free. Come in here and flick off the power. We're pretty much done with this section now. We're heading back to the back down the elevator to the area with the hunter camera. The camera won't be there anymore. If you activated the hunter won't be there anymore. If you didn't kill it, it will be gone. So we're heading towards the second boss fight that we don't need to fight the spider. I have a bad history with this guy. He can just randomly hit you. I don't know if there's a specific line to ensure you don't get hit, but I lost an extremely good pace to the spider. I got hit 3 times by it once, which is tragic. Okay, so we need to equip the grenade launcher, combine those two, and you notice again I combine from the item that's higher in the inventory. It puts you right back on the item that you need to use. Okay, so down here we're going to pick up an item, and there will be a poison hunter, a sweeper. We'll jump in, just shoot it. We've got 2 more hunters to deal with in this game, and I'm going to shoot them both. People have tried not to shoot them, and that's, you know, they're going for really optimal times, but for me it's quite dangerous. It's easier just to shoot. That guy's not a problem. The second hunter can be slightly more problematic. He has it's RNG based on where he jumps out of the water. The more rare pattern, you need to react to it rather quickly. It is rare though. We'll talk about that when we get there. This is the spider. So you can come in here and activate this. You can also do it from outside. Interestingly, I don't know if we're going to be able to get it, but yeah, you can get it. You know, I tend to just come inside here. I tend to hug the far wall, and then I like to go this way around because I feel like it manipulates the spider sometimes into spinning left. It's left away from you, so when you come back around, not always the case. You know, that was fairly easy, but it's get pretty hairy. Like I say, I was hit 3 times once by that spider on a very good pace. Tragic. Out of here, you want to be going left. Make sure you're moving straight away. For me, it helps get the better RNG placement. Also, things can get a little bit hairy with the auto aim there as well. I tend to try to adjust to turn into the hunter. There's an item on the floor here you can't see. It's a wing. There's also one in the water here, or it's on a ledge here. There we go. Worth pointing out that glitched and glitchless, the Chris sections are both the same. There's no difference for Chris. So, rocket launcher, you use the rocket launcher on the final boss, but in general it's the same. This doesn't work unless you do the camera angle change. We don't want to do that. You see, nothing's happening. You need to go in. There's Claire. Okay, this is very important. I mentioned this at the start of the game. What you need to do is, you need to keep the grenade launcher equipped. Go to the knife. Now, if you equip the knife and then try to use it, it will activate the cutscene. So it does work. However, when you come back to Chris in a few moments, you're straight into a boss fight. And it has an insta-death. If you get touched by the boss, you die. So you want to leave the grenade rounds, the grenade launcher equipped. So what you want to do is go down to use and use it. Try to get into the habit. You can, I mean, you can recover if you accidentally equip the knife. You can very easily do the boss fight, but just don't make things harder for yourself. Just leave the grenade launcher equipped. Okay, we're on to one of the more hairy sections. This is Claire. These days, it's not much of an issue, and you know, make sure someone clips that when I die in a moment. But there's health there if you need it. On this version of the game, Steve is about to turn into a huge monster, and you can't kill him, you have to just flee. You can do it without taking damage, but it's very slow. It's actually more difficult than it's slow. In the SD version, the Japanese SD version, he does 60 HP damage. In the HD version, regardless of what region, he does 110 damage. So, strictly speaking, you can't go into the Steve fight in caution unless you can try to do it damageless. In this version, you can go in caution. In my latest PB on this, I got hit 3 times by Steve because I messed up the quick turn. But before Steve, there's a couple more interesting moments. Let's make a save here. So this second vine, 2 vines are going to burst out the wall. This second vine you can get stuck behind. We didn't get stuck behind her. But let me show you what happens if you do. So if you get stuck behind the vine, you can't get back past her. However, you can actually get back past her. You have to walk into this section here and push this desk forward. Then walk out, and away you go. I've lost many a run there, especially if I don't have healing, and if you don't have healing and that thing knocks you into caution, it's bad news. So you want to read this file. Now this is the most ridiculous puzzle in the whole of the world. Like, what the hell is this? But you have to pick up this item and have it crushed beneath this this thing. You know what, I'm going to start this section again. If you dilly-dally around like I did, the zombie can follow you up the stairs and it becomes a bit hairy. So what you need to do is come here, hold action, mash cancel. You've had runs like to this puzzle. Have a many runs like to this puzzle. This thing can be really scary when you're first starting out. But you need to drop this down underneath. Now, it can still kill you when you go to pick the item up. I don't bother with a quick pick up here. You can do it, but I'm too scared. If you mess that up, if you get told, you know, you're not on the trigger, what you need to do is just run forward. Like, you need to just hold, run and forward, and just run and hope that you get away. You can save it. You can. This, you don't need to go into the menu to use this card. You can just use it. Okay, so this is Steve. Let's make a save here. And I'll show you first what most people do. This is what most new players do. And I'll get away with it in this version. Maybe. I got away with it because in this version, Steve doesn't do as much damage. If that was the HD version, I would have died after the second hit. Now we can try to do it damageless. Might not even be damageless. I think he still got me, but strictly speaking, that's the strat to do it sort of damageless. I messed it up. In fact, let's see if we can do it again. 1 sec. There we got It's slow. Don't bother with that. This is the strategy that you want to do. You don't need a heal to do this strategy if you have good enough HP. Run forward, quick turn. There you go. That's what you need to do. Run slightly upright, quick turn. You're baiting him into a swing, he gets his axe thing stuck in the floor. Making a save here, by the way. Okay, so after this cutscene, you're straight into a boss fight. Do yourself a favour, just shoot her with 3 regular grenade rounds. Sometimes 4, but 3, generally. There we go. The amount of times I watch people play this game, and obviously they don't know they don't know the strats, so that's fine. But the thing is with Resident Evil, right, and people who've played a lot of the OG Resident Evil games, they think that this ammo type, the regular grenade rounds, is crap, and for the most part, in a lot of games, it is. In this game, it's the best weapon. So yeah, and like Ish says in chat there, sometimes you will get 4 there, so be prepared to need to hit her with 4, but it's kind of rare, I feel. And then depending on what attack she does and blah blah blah, the stairs may be on fire, you may lose time, gain time. So pick up the item, and then we're going to place the jewels in this. You need to examine every jewel and take out every item and take out the jewel. But yeah, the regular grenade rounds are OP. They're the best weapon. Like, don't be tempted to grab, like, I see so many people at the final boss that they go straight for like flame. They go for every they cycle through every ammo type except this one, because the notion is that the regular grenades are rubbish, when in this game they're not. Right, so we want to inspect each item. Like, that's not usually how I do that, and I was thinking of something. I was trying something different. Generally, what I will do there is I will just use each item as I take it out of the inspector and take it out of its little holder. In here, there's 1 zombie in this corridor. Shouldn't be too much of an issue. On the way back through, there's more. So here, there's a key in this drawer. We're very much in the end game here. This is the end of the game. We need this key, and then for safety, there's a first aid spray in this like blue jacket. There's also shotgun shells here, which I accidentally pick up sometimes. So there's first aid spray there. We want to head back out, and now we're going to get the jewels. So there's like a copy of the bedrooms from earlier in this section. We need, again, to put some jewels into music boxes and things like that. Remember, the power is turned off now. We turned off the power on the way through. And so we can just take these items. Now, in this room now, there's more zombies. Just do what you can. Sometimes you're going to take grabs. There's one around this corner. There we go. Can be very frustrating if you take a grab. Also, by the way, you can put the blue jewel in there straight away, but it's slower. Go straight through the room into this room. Interact with this first. Also, in this menu, equip the bowgun. See so many people forgetting to equip the bowgun. You need it. So make sure you get it. Back into here. Blue gem, music plate, and then back up the stairs. Same as earlier on in the game. Okay. You're home, Mr. Show. Here, you can take a quite shallow line around this, or quite tight around this table. But the perspective is kind of weird, so I feel like a lot of people run right around the back of the room. Nice little time save, even though I messed it up. Hey, show. I'm good, man, I'm good. Here, pre-turn, nip out. This one here, I like to just come around the side here and dip in, depending on the enemy locations. You know, you may be able to cut in and get in a bit more efficiently and things like that, but generally speaking, that's the line. And then we're about to get our final wing object. And away we go. We're very close to the end here, guys. We spin about. There's some herbs there if need be. Straight out of this door, fire an arrow. Take him down. There's actually grenades underneath this desk. If you're struggling for ammo, if you need more ammo, there's grenades under there. Like here, cutscene, Claire's going to give us this folder, and we get some banging music. 'Tis a tune, my friends. So this here, you don't need to go to the keypad. Like what you want to do is combine the wings with the dragonfly. Do this first, and it will place you on top of the folder, like so. Now we examine. Open up. We have a key card there. You need to use this item from the menu. You can't just use it in the door. So conveniently we're in the menu. So there we go. And here we go. In here there's 2 zombies. I have surplus explosive arrows, so I'm going to take one down. The dodge actually isn't too bad. Same here, you don't need to go into the menu to use the card. You can, but you don't need to. Okay. And so, the final code is... Aquacure? No, it's not. Final code is Veronica. Don't do that. I go through spells with this keyboard. Sometimes I can do it very efficiently, sometimes not. But the code is Veronica. Aquacook. Veronica cooked myself. I've also done that many times in the. The thing is that the final letter of the passcode is A, which is right next to the escape key. Yeah, sweet man, I'm sure. This guy, sometimes he can just be standing there doing nothing. Sometimes he'll be right around here, and he may grab you. He may shoot a little chest baby at you or whatever. Okay, so here we go. What you want to do, you want to have a ranged weapon equipped. So straight away we've got to shoot Alexia. She has 1 HP in this section, and so you need to hit her with anything. The grenade rounds don't have the range. You can run over and get her. It doesn't have the range. Flame rounds don't work. Important to point out, the flame rounds don't work. So I like to shoot, go into the menu, equip the gun. I'll make a save here, and this is the final boss. This is just a complete mess. Run straight up to Alexia and aim up and shoot. It's important that you're aiming up. If you get knocked too far back, get close. Okay, that was kind of messy. It wasn't too bad actually, but it can get way worse than that. Right, now the final phase. Quick turn. Get yourself this. Now, some people like to move here. I stay still. Equip this weapon. Now this is a messy situation. This is more of a mess than the first phase. She's flying in the air and you need to shoot her. You don't want to try to aim at her. It doesn't work. Generally speaking, just aim up into the middle and start shooting. If she's moving up and down, whatever, you can adjust slightly, but generally speaking, this is a bad section. But we didn't get her. debate. Yeah, I think more often than not these days, I don't have a horrible final phase. You know, it is what it is. But I'll do it again a couple more times. But yeah, there's a number of strats you can do. I'm kind of against moving around. Like a lot of people will miss a shot and start running around the platform, and it makes the angle very difficult in my opinion. But yeah, remember, straight up. Okay, this is actually pretty good. Oh, nearly was anyway. If they got one more shot off there, that would have been good. Would I go for world record? Probably not. We'll see. At the moment, I'm way off it. Like, way off it. Oh, I'm getting cooked. That's what I get for bitching that poor Showtime. Anyway, that's the game. So, okay, version differences. The Dreamcast version of the game, the timer ends as soon as you hit Alexia. So that's the quickest ending. However, you can't skip the cutscenes, so you have to watch the cutscenes and the end credits. This version of the game, you can't skip the cutscene. You can't skip some of the cutscenes and all the credits, and it does count towards the in-game timer, which makes this the slowest. The HD version, you can skip everything, and the timer ends when you've skipped everything. So that is essentially why it's the fastest, plus faster loads and things like that. So I am going to let this play out, and then we'll look at the end screen. I'll talk a little bit more about that. I'm just going to go take a whiz. Thank you for hanging around.
Chris!
Hey, you know that I always keep my promises.
Chris, promise me. Please promise that you won't leave me alone again.
I'm sorry, Claire, but it's not over yet. There's still something we've got to do.
You mean...
Yeah, it's payback time. We've got to destroy Umbrella. Now, let's finish this once and for all.
Okay. Oh, world record. Okay, so for anyone who cares, by the way, you can't have any numbers. You can't have any retries, deaths and retries in the speedrun. It resets the in-game timer, so it's not allowed. And then you have to show this end screen. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Hopefully this is useful to somebody out there, but thank you very much everyone for hanging out. See if anyone's on the old Twitch. Yes, I'll put this on YouTube, Astral. I've been recording it locally, so any frame drops or whatever should be fine. But yeah, again, thanks very much. If anyone needs help getting set up with this game, you know, any advice or whatever, feel free to find me. I'm out there, I'm on Discord, I'm in the RE Speedruns Discord. You know, just look out for me. I'm always willing to help people with this game. If you're playing this game, I'm probably lurking in your chat like a weirdo, so... yeah. Enjoy, guys, and thanks very much.